on a path constraint going up the path, and I want to set 5 of them, 1 for each bone. Go to my constraints, path constraint, constrain the first one to the very base. If you'll notice, the first thing that Max does is it animates the path constraint. I'm going to go and kill the animation on it so that we have no animation on the spine. Then I want to make copies of it to approximately where each bone is going to come to. The last helper should be at 100%. Those new point helpers now will move along with the spline and stretch with it. We can now use those to control the stretch of the spline, the bones on the spline. Using the exact same system I showed you with the 1 bone chain for a stretchy bone, I'm going to do this with this whole chain. So starting with the root, constraints, position constrain it. I'm then going to make it, just going to go all the way up the whole chain and position constrain each one and not worry that the bones will come apart on me a bit. Oops. Position constraint. And then I'm going to go set my look-at constraints on each joint. And you'll notice that it spins and flips around. We can actually change how that is set up by changing what the source axis is to get to flip back by playing with the flip and the different source axes until you get it the right way around. I also don't like the way the view length absolute line just kind of goes on forever, so I tend to turn it off completely. I turn down the length and I turn off it entirely. To the next one, and it's flipping the wrong way around again, so I'm going to change it to Y and flip. I think it was Y and flip, looked like it worked. Next one in the chain. Turn off the view line. And I can set it the same again if I like. So now what you have is you have a set of bones that are position constrained to each of the point helpers that are along the path. And they are also looking down the chain to each one. Now when I pull and adjust the spline, you can see that the bones themselves are actually moving with it. And they will actually stretch as the spline gets longer as well. When I rotate the control, it'll rotate, bend, and flex the bone chain as well. The only thing we don't have control over here is much of a twist. You can actually see this bone here currently flipping over as I twist it around, flipping around uncontrollably. Right now we have absolutely no control on the orientation of each bone, the actual twist around the bone. Because we've used look at constraints, we can get that control though by setting an up node. Right now it's set to world, which is very much what a camera is set to. As the camera finally points down in the scene, it'll flip over to try and keep itself up the right way. This means that we're going to have bones flipping all over the place as they go from one axis to another through world space. What we need to do is we need to actually set an up node, a specific thing for it to look at, so that it doesn't do that. We'll be handling that in the next chapter.